It's the video I always hoped I'd get to make. Here we go. Ipswich Town have been promoted back to the Championship after 4 seasons in League One. God damn it. Here is how they did it. It's been over 6 decades since Ipswich were last in the third tier in English football. The drop came during the disastrous Marcus Evans ownership era, and it was Evans' final manager, Paul Lambert, who oversaw a disappointing fizzling out in the club's first 2 seasons down in League One. Everything changed for Ipswich though. The end of the 2020-21 season, Lambert was replaced with Paul Cook, and Marcus Evans sold up to US ownership group Game Changer. Overnight, Ipswich went from having an absentee owner trying to lose as little money as possible to one that seemed keen to invest in the club and for the longer term gains it could ultimately produce. The old guard went out and a virtually entirely new playing squad came in during summer 2021. But unfortunately for Paul Cook, the intensity of the change proved too much and he was sacked when he couldn't quickly mould his shiny new squad into a winning team. The ambitious project then got an ambitious young manager as Cook was replaced with Manchester United coach Kieran McKenna. The signs were good in McKenna's first part season, but Ipswich couldn't quite keep pace with the relentless League One playoff race and ended up finishing down in 11th. McKenna's squad was bolstered for this season with the arrivals of Davis, Harness, Ball, Ladapo and Lee, and by the time we'd got into autumn, Ipswich were in the thick of a 3-way promotion battle with Plymouth and Sheffield Wednesday. The plot thickened though at the end of October with a crazy stoppage time collapse in a 4-4 draw away at Charlton, derailing Ipswich's confidence completely. That game was the first of a run of 15 games during which time Ipswich only won 4. Meanwhile, Plymouth kept at it and Sheffield Wednesday were about to embark upon a superb 23-game undefeated streak. The pretty patterns that Kieran McKenna had been coaching brought praise almost universally from opposition managers. The underlying numbers were to die for, but it didn't totally translate into dominance with the unique challenges that League One possesses. Now, if Charlton away was the start of the downturn, then the solution was certainly found during January through some tactical evolution and some very useful recruitment. Tactically, McKenna seemed to absorb the fact that his ideals needed to be tweaked just a little to align with the circumstances he found himself managing in, and that directness, speed and physicality were equally as important in the third tier as ball circulation. Ipswich were again ruthlessly aggressive in the transfer market and the January window was a resounding success. Long-time striking target George Hurst came in on loan. Sizable fees were paid for fullback Harry Clark and attacker Nathan Broadhead, with Massimo Luongo coming in on a free in midfield. Honestly, after the Valentine's Day round, Ipswich looked out of the automatic promotion race back in 4th spot. But from then on, everything seemed to come together and click all at once. And the combination of new faces, the team growing into the season, and the manager's improving League One acumen caused a sensational explosion in both wins and points. Okay, maybe the first few games of Ipswich's decisive run weren't too tricky on paper, but by the time Wycombe were dispatched 4-0, Ipswich's streak had taken the promotion race by storm. It wasn't just 8 wins in a row. They didn't concede a single goal and went away to direct rivals Bolton and Derby and won. Rivals Plymouth never really skipped a beat, but during the Ipswich upturn, at the same time the wheels were starting to come off over at Sheffield Wednesday. The final hurdle for Ipswich then saw them travel for tricky back-to-back away games at 5th place Peterborough and 4th place Barnsley. Not only did they hold their nerve in tense circumstances, but performed imperiously, winning both games 3-0 and leaving Ipswich just needing to walk through the door that they'd done so well to smash open with that amazing winning sequence. So Ipswich are up. Here are the key takeaways. 1, a brave hire. Paul Cook was proven at League One level, but it wasn't working. McKenna was highly rated, but untried. The club gave him a chance, and he's repaid them. 2, learning your level. League One is a unique meeting of failing bigger clubs and high-performing smaller clubs. It's all well and good Kieran McKenna being schooled in the Manchester United Champions League way, but it feels like he learned the EFL third tier way somewhere along the journey. 3, January top-up. It was absolutely ruthless and probably the biggest difference maker. Broadhead, Hurst and Clark were all upgrades on players who performed perfectly adequately, with Luongo perhaps a beneficiary of circumstance, but excelling way beyond expectation. It was the right players, crucially, at the right time. 4, a change of culture. It's all well and good making promises during a football club takeover, but Portman Road has been transformed from a directionless, sad place to one full of ambition with engaged fans, and for the first time in a while, a winning team. So that's the story. Now to confront the elephant in the room, as we all think it's likely to be confirmed when accounts are released in April 2024, that Ipswich will have had the biggest budget and spend in League One. Now, this normally provokes 2 opposing, emotionally led responses. Opposition fans will say, well, the promotion is purely down to money. And then Ipswich fans will defensively say, but look at so-and-so. They had money and they didn't go up. To the opposition fan, I would say that most of the teams up at the top of most of the leagues spend the most money on transfer fees and wages. But all of the teams at the top of all of the leagues have got more out of their players than the rest of the division they are in. To the Ipswich fans, of which of course I am one, I would suggest that in life, when you have more of something than somebody else, acknowledging that fact with humility and dignity tends to be better than diving into the stinking swamp that is whataboutery. Get your thoughts in via the comments on Ipswich's season and how you think they'll go in the Championship. And if you want to see a bird's eye view of what was a decisive win, an incredible night up at Barnsley, click here where you'll see my match vlog of that unforgettable evening.